Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to another episode of No Huddle Rodeo. As of today, Wednesday, September 10th, we've got 20 days left in the regular season. A ton to talk about today. Puyallup, the first leg of the cinch playoffs. Pendleton, that's already underway in the timed events. The Extreme Bowls finale in Pendleton. All of that coming up. We are brought to you, as always, by Runyon's Fine Furniture and Justin Boots. We are broadcasting, as always, from the Fort Worth Stockyards. But before we get into anything that I just discussed right there, let's get into the biggest story of the weekend, the thing that you are probably all most curious about if you don't already know, if you haven't already read the report. Stetson Wright leads the all-around, leads the bull riding world standings, top 10 in the saddle bronc, injured on Saturday afternoon in Puyallup in the saddle bronc riding. He got stepped on right in the rib cage. Looked very, very nasty. Ended up with a pelvis injury, a punctured lung, couple broken ribs. There's good news and bad news. The good news is he walks out of the arena under his own power along with his brother, Ryder Wright. He spends the night in the hospital Saturday night in Puyallup. He said he felt good enough to leave, but they wanted to do some testing because of that punctured lung. He is back at the rodeo for the short round 4 championship Sunday of the next day. So that's all good news. That Stetson Wright as a whole is fine. The bad news, doctors say he will be out for about 6 weeks. That is the rest of the regular season. However, he says that in 2.5 weeks, he will be good to go, hopefully, for the Governor's Cup. And usually I would say Stetson rest up, especially what happened last year at the NFR. But he might need some of that money for the Governor's Cup, because right when I said last week that win in Ellensburg really, really catapulted him into potentially taking control of that world title race. Well, Wacey Shala had a terrific weekend in Puyallup, had a terrific weekend in both events. So now Stetson, 349,872 to Wacey Shala's 339,856. It is once again a very close race in the bull riding. And so some more ramifications from Stetson's injury. Obviously, it opens the door in the bull riding, not a ton, but it definitely opens it up for the talented guys at 3 and 4 in Tristen Hutchings, in Kai Hamilton. And Kai Hamilton won Puyallup. He won over 27,000 in Puyallup. He was 3 for 4. Kai Hamilton is now 6 for 10 with 4 rides of 87 points or better since August 30th. So he is peaking at the right time. And he is a guy, remember when Stetson got banged up in 2023, Kai Hamilton burst through that open door and rode 7 bulls at the NFR. So that could happen again. So he is now within about $100,000 of Stetson Wright. He was $141,000 back on August 1st. So he's made up a decent amount of ground. And if he rides 8 to Stetson's 4 at the NFR, he can easily make up $100,000. So look out there and look out for Kai, who was also 91.5 at the Pendleton Extreme Bulls. So he's only 1 for 3 there, but he was 91.5 on his 1 qualified ride. He is going to the Governor's Cup. He will be at the duel at the Dunes. So he's going to have some big opportunities, especially if Stetson is out. Kai Hamilton could cut this to $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. Same with Tristen Hutchings, who's not as hot. Wacey Shala could take the lead. So all of a sudden, it goes from a 2-man race between Stetson and Wacey in the bull riding. Now, I would say there are probably 4 contenders and 4 really, really, really good contenders. Stetson Wright, Wacey Shala, Tristen Hutchings, and Kai Hamilton there. More ramifications with that is Wacey Shala, who looked not quite dead in the water, but looked like he really had some work to do in the all-around. Well, he made over $10,000 in both of his events in Puyallup. He made $22,000 total. And he's now within $60,000 of Stetson Wright in the all-around. So he could really have that thing. Again, if Stetson misses the Governor's Cup, he could have that thing basically heads up or within, $20,000, $30,000. Super realistic. Super, super realistic for Wacey Shala to now lead the bull riding world standings and be within one go-round win of an all-around win. That is also incredibly important for Wacey Shala because in his bareback riding over the weekend, he's been on the bubble. He's worked his way into that bubble. He's been awesome all summer in the bareback riding after really not getting started till like May in the bareback riding. And he's went from number 16 to number 14 in the bareback riding, which is probably the most important part of all of this in terms of that all-around world title races. If he is going to win that all-around world title, he has to make the NFR in the bareback riding. And he did the twofold thing that you want to do in Puyallup. He made a bunch of money to get on the right side of the bubble, but he also made that shootout, that four-man shootout, which means he is going to the Governor's Cup in both events, which means he has a chance to win $40,000 plus in each event if he were to win both of them, let's say. And if he were to win both of them, well, then we would have quite the all-around race incoming. And so, again, we are hoping Stetson Wright gets better. We are hoping to see him as soon as possible for a multitude of reasons. One, just for his health. Very scary, dangerous injury. Two, because Stetson Wright is awesome. He's really fun to watch. He does things that no one else can do. But three, we want to have some awfully competitive world title races. And we will have just that the sooner that Stetson gets back. But again, a lot of ramifications and a lot of different events now if Stetson Wright is indeed out for the regular season, like the Justin Sports Medicine team recommends. And it becomes an awesome story if he does make it back for the Governor's Cup. So now let's go to some of the other winners in Puyallup. Again, that all-important first leg in the cinch playoffs. We're not going to run through all of them, but some big impacts in the standings as well. In other events, of course, Jesse Brown, 3-6 in the finals. He edges out the world number one, Will Lummus. He gets to number 2 in the world standings. He has been number 2 or 3 all summer. This is a guy who has finished in the top 6 each of the last 4 years. Him and Will Lummus, in my estimation, have been the second and third best steer wrestler this decade since 2020. They have been the second and third best steer wrestlers. Neither of them, though, have won a gold buckle. Now they are 1-2. We are setting up for a showdown for them. And the first showdown that these two will have is going to be at the Governor's Cup because they are both terrific on the fast setups. The setups that mimic the Thomas and Mack. So watch out what horse they're riding. Watch how they look at the Governor's Cup because that will be your last good look at them before the NFR. And again, all important because it will be an opportunity for Will Lummus to potentially extend that lead. Remember, he's got 3 reserve world titles, but he has never entered the NFR number 1. So an opportunity for him to potentially extend that lead, or Jesse Brown, who made the 4-man shootout there last year. Will Jesse Brown cut into that lead because he could erase potentially that entire $29,000 deficit with a good showing at the Governor's Cup. And still lurking in the steer wrestling world title race, look for this guy to make a move like he did the Rough Rider Cup last year. Tyler Wagasback, who has been the best steer wrestler this decade, one of the best steer wrestlers all time. He could play spoiler. He is your number 1 guy to watch playing spoiler in this Lummus or Brown breakthrough season. But right now, 2 guys who deserve gold buckles, who are good enough to win gold buckles, who should win gold buckles in their career. They're both 33 years old. They're both number 1 and 2 in the world. You don't get many chances like this often for Will Lummus, for Jesse Brown. Another big winner, Clint Summers and Jade Corkill, who are now number 4 and number 3 in the world, respectively. They were both outside the top 35 at the beginning of the summer run. And all they have done is win and win and win and win. And now, Summers within $6,000 of number 1, Corkill within $8,000 of number 1. There's a bunch of teams within $15,000 of number 1. Not only a bunch of teams within $15,000 of number 1, if you have been watching No Huddle Rodeo throughout the season, You know that I've been on this because the pairings up there, Todd and Begay, Summers, Corkill, Wadenthorpe, Driggers, Nagera, Levi Lauren, Dustin Giza now split up. So with their new respective partners, Clay Smith and Colby Payne did not rope together at the Cinch playoffs. Clay Smith roped with Nikki Northcott. They are both in that mix. Travis Graves, Tanner Tomlinson. And so going through all of that, just so many legends, so many of the most decorated team ropers in the mix there right now. And through all of that, no partners in the top 8 right now are in the same spot as each other on either side, except for Begay and Todd at number 2. But remember, those two are not going to be at the Governor's Cup, so they could be passed up now. And so just your monthly, weekly reminder how good the team ropers who are in the mix are, but also it could be so crazy. I mean, last year was pretty nuts in the team roping. It could be crazy this year in terms of throughout the rodeo. Who leads the average? Who's winning? Who's number 1? Who's the projected number 1? Is their partner the projected number 1? Do they safety up and let one guy win the world title? Do they go for it? Does it cost one of them a world title if they go for it? Does it cost both of them a world title if they go for it? How do you play the average when there's a $3,000 or $4,000 difference between the two partners? And that could be everything in a world title race. Do you go for an average title? Do you go day money by day money and make it a one header 10 times over? There's a lot of strategy, and there was a lot of strategy last year. And Wade and Thorpe were one of the best teams at working through their strategy on every single run. And so just watch out for that. Watch out for them and Driggers and Nagera, maybe some of the more experienced teams who know what they have to do, who know what it takes to win a world title. But man, that is going to be an awesome race. And admittedly, I'm not sure I should really say this. I wasn't the biggest team roping fan really until last season, really until last NFR. And just the more I talk to the guys in the team roping, the more you hear the Coleman Proctors. We got an opportunity to talk to Tyler Wade a bunch of times last year. You got an opportunity to talk to Wesley Thorpe. And so getting to hear those guys' approach, it's really cool. And it's a lot of fun. And it's a lot of fun at the NFR. And last NFR was the most fun I had watching any event at the NFR last year. And that says a lot because, again, I was not a huge team roping fan before last year, but man, am I ever, and man, am I looking forward to that this year now at the NFR. And before we go today, want to keep you updated on some of the things going on in Pendleton that has already started there. And of course, the Extreme Bulls finale as well. We will start in that Extreme Bulls finale. Remember this name, Hayden Welsh, 20 years old, on his permit, wins against the best of the best in the world at the X Bulls finale, 3 for 3, 266 on 3 straight rides of 86 points or better. He wins over $30,000 to bring his season total to $140,000. He's on his permit. And you're going, Brett, that's a lot of money. That's a ton to win. He would be number 10 in the world if he was not on his permit. So remember, of course, disappointing for him. He should be at the NFR. He won't be at the NFR. He will be at the NFR eventually. The last guy this happened to, a guy who set a permit record and would have been in the top 15 on his permit had he bought his card. Most recently, Keenan Hayes in 2022. What did Keenan Hayes do? When he did break out for Rio 2023, he won a world title and set an earnings record. I'm not saying that's going to happen with Hayden Welsh, but I am saying if I'm filling out my NFR field for next year, for 2026 already, this guy is 100% on it, and he is going to be high up there because you don't compete at the X Bulls finale with the best bull riders in the world, exclusively the best bull riders in the world, and come away the only one to ride 3 and the champion, or one of 2 guys to ride 3 and the champion, if you are not incredibly, incredibly talented. And if you are third generation doing this, riding bulls, and if you've won everything growing up, just remember Hayden Welsh's name. He's gonna make a lot of NFRs. He's going to be a staple in your bull riding watching future. Some other interesting things out of Pendleton. Timed events already start there. They got that really, really long slack, and no rodeo celebrates slack more and better than Pendleton potentially, but just a couple noteworthy scores there. Kyle Lucas, 8-8, leads round one in the tie-down roping. Why is that important? He's number 15 by about $2,000, so that'll go a long way. Right behind him at 9 flat, Shane Hanchy, number 14, looking to extend that NFR streak to 16 in a row. That is something that he is incredibly, incredibly proud of, that he makes it every year no matter what happens to him. And so he is able to put himself in a little bit better position as he's in his first bubble race in a little bit there. And then Lisa Lockhart won last year at the Green Mile for the first time ever. Her fastest run, she cruised to victory, by the way, won by almost 0.2 of a second. Her fastest run last year was in round one, 28.57. This year, she is leading round one right now, 28.52. So already faster than any run in the barrel racing last year from Lisa Lockhart, from the champion, and it was a run she made. So look out for Lisa after all those years and finally getting it done in Pendleton. She is now potentially in the driver's seat to get it done back-to-back years at that wild, wild barrel racing pattern. So I just said it. It's going to be a wild time in Pendleton. It always is. It's going to impact the world standings. It always does. So just keep an eye out for some of those things. We will update you on that next Wednesday on No Huddle Rodeo. We'll have a bubble extravaganza for the final 2 weeks. We'll break down every single bubble race. I'm going to try to keep it kind of short, but I tend to talk for a very long time. And so I guess to save myself for that, this is your September 10th edition of No Huddle Rodeo. Remember, US Cowboy YouTube every Wednesday, the morning kick, one of the biggest stories in rodeo, is a special look at that every Tuesday. This week, we dove deeper into Jesse Brown and Will Lummus's careers and world title hopes, so we encourage you to check that out. But until then, I will see you next Tuesday for the morning kick, next Wednesday for that bubble extravaganza. Enjoy Pendleton. Enjoy the rest of the regular season. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we will continue to break it down here on the US Cowboy YouTube. Thank you to Runyon's Fine Furniture. Thank you to Justin Boots. Thank you to the Fort Worth Stockyards, and we will see you next